Welcome back to the Week 5 college football betting locks and predictions. And let's start with a recap of last week. With the game picks, started out with a loss. Illinois upsets Nebraska on the road. I liked what I saw from both teams here, but Nebraska falls just short. Raiola not able to escape the pressure in overtime. Nebraska loses that one there. Washington State wins a thriller against San Jose State, one of the best games of the season right there. If you guys haven't seen the highlights of that one, I would advise you guys to watch if you want to see some entertainment right there. Big back and forth game. Then we had JMU against North Carolina. JMU takes advantage of multiple turnovers by North Carolina, puts up 70 points and wins. Not playing much defense. North Carolina put up 50 of their own. My goodness, that was a good game as well, but James Madison ran away with it early there. Then we had Georgia Tech against Louisville. Louisville runs away with it late, despite some turnover shenanigans in that one. That was a good game, and I think Louisville is very much a good team. Georgia Tech, also a good team, but tough spot. Louisville is one of the true contenders in the ACC. We'll see what they're able to do for the rest of the season. USC at Michigan. We get a decently bad number here. It goes the other way on us, and Michigan just wins the game outright. Kind of one play away from a USC win, but the cover was never really in the cards there. USC falls. My opinion on these two teams doesn't change much. Remember, the pick six proved vital in this game, and you would think that that's something that Miller Moss can improve over the course of the season. Alex Orji didn't do much in the passing game, but Michigan played their style of game and won a competitive game, and they get rewarded for it with the win there. And then we head to Tallahassee, where Florida State gets their first win of the season against a formerly undefeated Cal team. Texas Tech beat Arizona State at home in a decently close score, but pretty dominant game from them there. Oklahoma State, we were just wrong about this one. We had Oklahoma State minus 2.5 as a betting lock, and I assumed early in the week that Cam Rising wouldn't play. Again, Utah just kind of shielding the injury, had Cam Rising warm up, but he didn't end up playing. Didn't matter. Oklahoma State, this O-line, this veteran O-line, and Ollie Gordon, they just cannot run the ball. Alan Bowman, we knew this the whole time that he was not very good at throwing the football, but I just figured that they'd be able to do something similar to Michigan and just run the ball all over the place this season. It's just not true. Oklahoma State gets a vast downgrade in my power rating, losing to a backup quarterback at Utah in a game they had to win at home, to be quite frank. They're lucky to even be 3-0 with that fluky win over Arkansas. Oklahoma State, bad play there. We get one through with Ball State, plus 6.5 against Central Michigan. They lose the game at the end, but a good lock there just based on the number. And then Iowa also is a betting lock late in the week. This is why you guys have to go in the Discord at the top right here. And they blow out Minnesota as 2.5-point favorites. Returning to the next page, we predict correctly that Arkansas would win one of the sloppiest games of the week. We predicted a lot of turnovers here, so we thought that the over would hit. But instead what was happening is the teams were just turning over the ball, near midfield, and no one really got any points off of these turnovers. So this one had a sneaky chance at it late in the game, but Arkansas ends up winning, and this over does not hit. A little bit unlucky there. Virginia Tech not able to beat a 3-0 Rutgers team. We'll talk more about them later. South Florida was in it early, even with the lead against Miami, but Miami was just the better team. Maybe a first half play would have been better in this spot. Miami proving to be a great team, blowing out South Florida there. BYU wins outright as one of our betting locks against K-State, and we've backed BYU a couple times now, and I think we have a pretty good read on their team. It'll be interesting to see what they do against Baylor this week. Speaking of Baylor, this was the pivotal game of the week, betting locks-wise. Drops us just below 500 for the week, and so it's a slight losing week for us. A horrible bad beat. Baylor misses a field goal. Colorado comes right back, misses the Hail Mary, but then with 2 seconds left, hits it. Wins in overtime because of a Baylor fumble. That's one of the worst beats I've ever taken in college football, and it's unfortunate, but we have to live with it, and that brings us down to a slightly below 500 week there. Tennessee against Oklahoma. We get the win in there, minus 6.5. Tennessee looked great. Didn't run up the score as much as some people may have thought would happen, but Jackson Arnold's just not the answer at Oklahoma. I'm sorry about that. Boston College wins by 4, not enough for our lock there, so that's unfortunate. Oregon State runs away with it, and Buffalo were also both late ads there. Buffalo actually wins outright against a ranked Northern Illinois, and Purdue is just a terrible team, it appears. Oregon State gets a good Power 4 win there. Florida Atlantic, we also had against UConn, just playing the number there, but they fall in the road spot there. So let's move on to this week, get to the Friday game, Washington at Rutgers. And this is a play, Rutgers 3-0 with the win against Va-Tech last week. And we like them to beat a Washington team that we think is a little overrated after that win against a fraudulent Northwestern team. Obviously, they lost to Washington State in a semi-close game there, But this is a cross-country trip on a short week. This is just a formula that we haven't really seen, and I think Rutgers is a little undervalued here. I like Rutgers -2.5 in a spot where I think fans will be ready for this one and provide a good environment for a good betting opportunity on Rutgers there. Please note that Stanford also played on the Friday against Cuse and won, but they did have the bye week before, so I think that Rutgers is in a good position here with Washington coming all the way across the country. I think this is actually the longest flight that is even possible in the Big Ten, so this should be a good one there. I think Rutgers will win by more than the 2.5. Speaking of both of these teams, Kansas State, the loss to BYU, it was a little more of a blowout than it should be. They actually outgained BYU, but BYU had some turnover luck and really capitalized off those turnovers. I like K-State, buy them low. AP poll dropped them a bit too much maybe. Oklahoma State didn't get dropped enough. I like K-State to cover the 5.5 there against an Oklahoma State team that can't run the football. I don't trust Alan Bowman to pass. I think K-State gets right and controls the turnovers here. Then BYU at Baylor. Shocking one here. I'm going to take Baylor to win outright. This may look shocking after Baylor just folded to Colorado, but in reality, it's just a game they should have won by a possession. They should have covered that game against Colorado. Horrific call in the coverage in a Hail Mary situation. Hopefully it doesn't come to that against BYU because I'm not sure that they can mitigate it. That being said, BYU doesn't have, the 2 or 3 playmakers that Colorado has on offense. So I'll take Baylor here in the religious matchup against a ranked BYU team. Again, a little bit of a hold the nose spot, but I was encouraged by what I saw from Baylor. I think BYU's getting a little too much smoke here after that dismantling of the 13th ranked team in the country, but it was a little misled if for the many, AP poll voters that don't actually watch the games. It was a little turnover driven and K-State actually outgained them there. Indiana against Maryland. I think Indiana's the better team here. Shocked that they aren't ranked yet, but maybe one could be coming after they beat a Maryland team, as I think they will do here. 15 versus 16, Louisville versus Notre Dame. And remember that Notre Dame's marquee wins right now are against a questionable Texas A&M team, but very good win on the road for sure. And then also on the road at Purdue, which has just proven to be a horrendous team. Meanwhile, Louisville's been a covering machine these past few weeks. I'm going to take Louisville to win outright in Notre Dame Stadium. I could see my opinion on this game changing throughout the week, but I'm just going to take this outright underdog on the road in what looks like a bad spot for them because Notre Dame actually, this is a revenge spot for last year when Louisville won outright as a touchdown dog. Now they're 4.5, 5.5 point dog. See if they can get it done, but I like the Cardinals here. And then finally on the first page, we've got the Southwest Classic. Last week it's being played at AT&T Stadium. Arkansas versus Texas A&M, one of these annual rivalries in the SEC. And I'll take the Hogs plus 5.5. They have had a miserable time in these neutral site games in Texas. Pretty much equidistant for these two fan bases. I like the Hogs to cover the 5.5. We'll see who wins this one. Should be competitive. Texas A&M struggled to get away from a feisty Bowling Green team, let's say. I still have to be proven on the offense, but Arkansas, I would say, still hasn't played a complete game this season, despite that loss to Oklahoma State. Of course, not a complete game, maybe a complete half in the first half for them. I like the Hogs to stay with it, and there's a possibility that we see an upset here outright for the Hogs there. On to the second page where we've got the marquee game of the week. But first, let's get to Ohio State against Michigan State. Look out on the Discord for a play in this one. Once I see that first half Michigan State number, I could be looking to take it. I think they were a little unlucky against Boston College. Looking to back them at some point, especially in a home environment. We'll see how the fans are for this one. That's a situation worth monitoring throughout the week. But keep an eye on that. I think Ohio State does win, but Michigan State can keep it close, at least for a half, I think. Georgia-Bama, we're looking at potential onslaught of rain / thunder / whatever, given this hurricane activity in the Gulf. So I'm going to take Bama with the plus 2.5 points. I'd really like to see it at 3, but I just think this game has been on the board for so long. These two teams, 2 versus 4 in the nation, essentially an old playoff matchup, and it always is with these teams. Can Georgia get the monkey off their back with Bama in recent times? We will see. They're playing the reigning SEC champion, of course, but Georgia, a very good team of their own, had a struggle with Kentucky, but I like Bama plus 2.5 to win this one. They've looked really impressive this year, and Bryant Denny should be rocking for this one. This will be a massive game, and I like Bama to keep it close, and I'd like them to win outright, but if Georgia comes up with a little 1-point win, we wouldn't mind that either. Then we've got Illinois, Penn State. I think this will be a closer game than some people think right now. Illinois, of course, got that massive road win at Nebraska last week. So we will see if they can keep it rolling. Penn State's looked a little up and down in recent weeks, but off the bye here, I like Penn State to win that one there. We'll see what kind of strides they can continue to make on offense after they also struggled with Bowling Green, team that gave Texas A&M a good game. Then we've got a notable Mountain West game. Actually, we've got two coming up here. But Fresno State against UNLV. UNLV, 2 wins over the Big 12 so far. Fresno State has played pretty well this season, and the one loss is at Michigan, and that was a game into the fourth quarter as well. I like UNLV to win, but I could also see myself going back and forth on this game. We'll see what happens, but I like UNLV for now. I like what they've shown. I know the home field probably won't be much. A lot of Fresno fans have just a short drive to this game, so we'll probably be 50-50 crowd-wise, but I think UNLV is a touch better. Should be a great game either way. No betting lock there. Oklahoma at Auburn, and I don't think it can get much worse for Auburn. We'll see what Oklahoma does about the quarterback situation. It just seemed like they didn't really know what they were going to do as a program. Then you've got an Auburn fan base. We'll see if they even come to this game, but it is a ranked opponent at home. Hopefully, maybe this is the last stand of Jordan-Hare. They don't have many marquee home games this year, so maybe this is one of them. But Oklahoma in a tough spot after that. Really, it was a drubbing by Tennessee, but Auburn in an even tougher one because they're going to turn the ball over 2 to 4 times. I just can hope they don't, maybe. If they just hold on to it, I think they can win at home. It's about time that they hold on to the ball, maybe even get a little turnover luck for themselves. I like Auburn to win that one. Then we've got North Carolina Duke in a big rivalry game. I like North Carolina here. I think it was a bit of a fluky loss against JMU. Give me North Carolina. They're getting 3 points. We'll see where that number goes, but a potential play looming here. I think Duke is a little overrated. Their wins haven't been against great teams, Middle Tennessee, Northwestern, et cetera, and I like North Carolina here. That has been a little more battle-tested this far into the season, despite the loss to JMU last week. They've got a massive one in the Mountain West / Pac-12, I guess. Washington State 4-0, 2 wins over Power 5 competition, Washington and Texas Tech so far. Looking to make it a ranked win. On top of all that, Boise State finally getting some credit for that, keeping it close against Oregon. They're up to 25 in the rankings, despite the 2-1 record. I like Boise to win, though, but we'll see about the cover. I like this to be a one-possession game. Should be a great one, and I'll certainly be tuning into that one. Then we've got an Arizona team that's starting to fall off the rails, it looks like, a little bit, against a Utah team that's just getting it going. No idea if Cam Rising's going to play or not. This is going to be a lingering question, I have a feeling, throughout the year. I like Utah to win, but I'm not sure the margin right now. Ted McMillan, Noah Fifita need to connect for a lot for Arizona. I think this could be a game for a while, but I don't think they have the horses on defense to keep up with Utah, no matter who the quarterback is. Utah's just better on the fronts, and I think that they win this one easily in Rice Eccles there. Then finally, Cincy at Texas Tech. I'll take Texas Tech to win that one. Cincy a little fraudulent, even though they kind of got hosed against Pitt, another team that I'll be looking to fade at some point. But Texas Tech starting to get it going after that loss to Washington State. I like them to get to 2-0 in Big 12 play. Not facing the best competition in Cincinnati and ASU yet, but that will ramp up quickly. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your own predictions below.